need to make a distinction between the things that you are telling yourself, the beliefs that you have about yourself, and what other people believe about you. Stop removing yourself from rooms that you belong in. Stop removing yourself from rooms that you belong in. You're over here trying to curate what everyone thinks of you. Why? Whatever narrative you tell yourself is the narrative that you're going to see played out in reality. If you keep telling yourself, my friends don't like me, my friends don't want to hang out with me, and then you start to exclude yourself from the hangouts, obviously they're not going to invite you anymore. Self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to tell yourself the most positive things possible until reality proves them wrong. You can only achieve the things that you want to achieve by first believing that you can. And yeah, at first it's gonna feel like you're lying to yourself. I lie to myself all the time. But the thing is, I keep doing that until the lie becomes truth. Now, we don't do this when we are actively being shown that that lie is a lie, but unless if you know definitively that this will never ever happen, you believe that it will happen. Now, this does not apply to relationships. Yeah, ever since I started dating my boyfriend 6 months ago, all he ever does is put me down and tell me about how horrible I am. And even though I told him that it hurts my feelings and that he should stop, he keeps doing it. But tomorrow, he's not going to be mean to me. He's not gonna say horrible stuff to me because I believe that he is a good person. That's not what we're talking about. If someone is actively showing you they don't care about you, there is no amount of belief or willpower that you can personally have to create a scenario where that person does care about you. It's just not happening. The delusion I'm talking about is what's in your control, for one, and what is completely uncertain. You will never know what anybody thinks of you. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. But if the person in front of you is constantly showing you that they care about you and that they respect you and that they want you in their circle, why on earth would you tell yourself that they don't care about you, that they don't respect you, and they don't want you in their circle? You need to make a distinction between the things that you are telling yourself, the beliefs that you have about yourself, and what other people believe about you. When it comes to your goals in life, you have to believe that they are achievable in order to achieve them. And you know, that sounds basic, you're rolling your eyes at me. Yeah, of course, I have to believe in myself. Thank you, Twilight Sparkle. But it's not just about saying it blankly and going, yeah, it's gonna happen. You need to consistently be working at it. You're gonna hear me talk about this one thing a lot on this channel. I made like a whole video about it. And the reason why I talk about it so much is because it's an example of what delusion and believing in what God can do for you can do for you. Spring of 2024, I started posting a bunch of dumb little videos on Instagram. And I began to get like maybe 10 followers a week, maybe only 5 followers a week, but I was like, oh my gosh, people actually like the stuff that I'm making. And then I remember I told my mom, hey, by December of this year, I'm gonna have 10,000 followers. And guess what? I did it by July. I made it to 10,000 followers. Actually, I think it was October, but the point is, I got there way before I expected to. And it wasn't like I was seeing any steady growth towards 10,000 followers. Mind you, I made this goal when I was sitting at like maybe 100 followers on Instagram. I didn't even think I'd make it that far, but I was like, no, I'm gonna get 10,000 followers. And then I got 10,000 followers, and then I got bored and I stopped posting on Instagram. Guys, I don't know what to do over there anymore. I'm not very big into manifestation. I don't get into the spiritual aspect of it, but I do agree with the fact that the words that we say and the things that we tell ourselves affect the lives that we live. If you're constantly telling yourself, no one wants to be my friend, no one wants to hang out with me, no one's gonna hang out with you. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't be an actor, I can't be on Broadway, you're not gonna get onto Broadway because those thoughts are influencing your actions. You don't think you can be on Broadway, therefore you don't go to any auditions. If you don't go to any auditions, how are you supposed to get on Broadway? When I was in my sophomore year of high school, one of my friends said to me, Caitlin, I'm gonna get a boyfriend this year. She'd never been in a relationship before. She really wanted a boyfriend. That was her goal for the year. And I was like, go for it. 2 months later, Kate, I have a crush on this guy. Another 2 months later, Kate, this guy likes me back. A few weeks later, I see her post on her story. They went on their first date and they are still together all these years later. And yeah, the story might sound a little silly to you, But the point is, she believed that she was gonna get a boyfriend. She put herself out there in a position to get said boyfriend, and then she got her boyfriend. Now, could you imagine if she went, no one likes me, no one's ever gonna want to be with me, I'm never gonna get a boyfriend. Therefore, she doesn't go try to talk to the guy that she likes. Therefore, he doesn't end up liking her back. Therefore, they never go out. So you see how your mind shapes what happens in your real life. Now, I'm also gonna say this. Sometimes the things that we want are not the things that God wants for us. You could have all the belief in the world, but if that's not the path that God has designed for you. A while ago, I applied to this scholars program. And if I were to get into this scholars program for this specific school, it would pay my full ride, full tuition, full room and board, and that he had a bunch of crazy other perks, traveling to other countries and everything like that. So I have this manifestation book right here. The greatest manifestation book is the one written by you. And part of the prompting, there's this part right here called My Manifesto. And so every day when you use this journal, you're going to write down what it is that you want. And so for about 3 months, I would write in there, I am in this scholars program, I'm a part of the scholars program, I'm a part of the scholars program. Now, a lot of the things that I would write in this journal, a lot of the manifestos that I would write in this journal came true, you know? I got into this college, I got into this college, I got into this college. And I would write that months ago, like months prior to even applying to the school. And I got in. I got into all of these schools. So a lot of the things that I wrote in this journal, they would come to fruition. Not necessarily because, oh, I'm writing it in here and wishing on a star, but because I'm writing it in here, believing that I can have it, which influences me to work towards having those things. And so here comes the scholars program, and I'm writing in my journal. And along with writing that in my journal, I'm also praying about it, saying, dear God, if this is what you want for me, please let it happen. And if it's not what you want for me, let me be okay with that. And finally, acceptances are announced. I didn't get accepted. Also, deep down, I knew that that's not what I wanted. Yes, it'd be great to go to school completely for free, but this wasn't really the school that I wanted to be at. This wasn't the place where I wanted to be. God knows where we are going to be the happiest, and that's what he wants for us. So sometimes the things that we think we want the most, he's saying, I have something better for you. Even though I didn't get into the program, I still trust that whatever is the next step for me is going to be the right one. Everything happens for a reason. And so it's important to remember that even though you need willpower and almost borderline delusion to achieve your goals, sometimes that goal isn't the one that you're meant to achieve. But until something like that happens, where God literally goes, no, you need to act like you know the future. That's also why, along with this willpower, you need to pray and say, God, show me where it is that you want me to be. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. You have to trust that. You need to want things and believe that you can have them, believe that you are worthy of having them and being in those spaces, while also having full belief that even if you don't get to be in that space, or if someone pushes you out of that space, you will still be okay. And it's because we fear that we won't be okay that we push ourselves out of these spaces. These people probably don't want me around, therefore I'm going to remove myself before they prove to me that they don't want me around. I don't think I have what it takes to be a D1 athlete, therefore I'm not going to try to become a D1 athlete. Your fear of other people telling you that you don't deserve to be in the room causes you to tell yourself that you don't deserve to be in the room. Stop removing yourself from rooms that you belong in. You need to allow people to choose whether or not they like you. You choosing to exclude yourself from places that you want to be in is a form of you trying to gain control. And even if the outcome is negative, you would still rather accept that negative outcome knowing that you chose it, rather than having a positive outcome occur even if you don't know that it's actually going to happen. Isn't that crazy? You are so desperate to control the narrative, so desperate to control everyone else's opinion about you, that you would rather do something that you hate, be in a place that you hate, rather than risking to choose that you belong and be wrong. And 9 times out of 10, You do belong. That's why you're there. I think until we accept that we have no control over anything in this life besides ourselves, and sometimes we don't even have that control over ourselves, until we accept that, we will never actually be happy. And just the fact that you are able to tell yourself that you don't belong and that you can believe it just goes to prove that you can also tell yourself that you do belong, and you can choose to believe that. So that's the advice that I'm going to leave you with today. Trust God, go after the things that you want without hesitation, and know that even if you don't get that thing, you will be okay. All right, that's all I have to say today. So, bye!